I'm expecting a classical Spanish Peter Svidler a6. He has his favorites in these main lines. Castles bishop to e7. Here, the move d3, he's a specialist. He's done a video series on Chess24 about it. So let's see what line he chooses. Carlsen goes for d3, b5, d6. A system I believe they discussed in the last round of the London candidates, where Peter Svidler defeated Magnus Carlsen, but Magnus Carlsen still qualified because his rival Vladimir Kramnik lost at the same time. All of this is standard Spanish stuff. The same line has been played by Carlsen very recently against Levan Aronian in Norway chess, this very position. There Aronian got a good position. h6, rook e8 is the standard setup for black. h6 just to avoid any shenanigans with knight g5 or bishop g5. Knight e3, and now either bishop e6 or rook e8. It's always a bit of a choice. If I recall correctly, but I probably don't. I think Aronian played bishop e6 here, but I'm not 100% sure. Rook e8 is the normal move when you have to figure out how to react to d4. And Svidler goes bishop e6. Once again, d4 is a big question when black has a choice of playable lines. The most typical is to just exchange everything on d4, then go for rook c8 and hope that the active pieces compensate for the slightly weakened pawn structure. And looks like that's what Peter Svidler is doing, blitzing out his moves, probably familiar with his position. E takes d, queen d4, rook c8. When white once again has some options, bishop to b3 or pawn to a4, all of this is still known. I know my way around here because I play the same lines with black. But let's see what Magnus Carlsen has in store. Could also consider some knight jumps. One big question is always if black is ready to leash out with the move d5, and then after e5 some bishop to c5 or knight to e4. Carlsen thinking here a4 or bishop b3, I believe, are the main moves. Let's see what he comes up with. Bishop b3, yeah, that's very typical. Allowing doubled pawns, trying to stop black from going for this d5 advance. I don't think black should take on b3, because then after a takes b3, his a6 pawn is pretty weak. So let's see what Svidler does. Queen to d7 looks like a very normal move. And I'm sure this position is somewhere in my chess analysis notes, but it happens quite often nowadays that you know it's in your notes, but you don't have the slightest idea what your notes say. So I'm sure the same happens to Svidler. He's analyzed his position, but to recall what the best move is here is always very different over the board. He goes for knight to d7, f6, but vacates the d5 square, which allows a move like knight to d5, which to me looks a bit unpleasant. Knight d5 or even knight f5. I don't think white wants to exchange on e6, and after f takes e6, black should be fine. But these knight jumps to either d5 or f5 do